So the Black Stars keep their record 100%. They've not been beaten in all 3 games, and they have 9 points from Group H. And welcome again to the PM Express. I'm Gary Al Smith. I'm sitting in for your regular host, Malik Abbas Dabu. Today, we'll be looking at certain pertinent issues that have to do with the Black Stars. I know that it's been flogged a lot, but we'll be taking a look briefly at Avram Grant's choice of players today. Does it reflect the monitoring that he came to Ghana to do in the last 2-3 weeks after all the bashing he got from the media? Also, we'll look at the game itself. What were the strengths and weaknesses of the Black Stars? At certain points, it seemed as if they were a bit complacent. And what lessons can we take from that consolation goal from Mozambique? Don't forget that the second leg will be in Maputo. That will be on Sunday. We'll look at other issues that have been trending after the game, which look like they'll become the newsy items this Easter break and afterwards. And I'm glad to have 2 veteran journalists here with me to do the analysis. From my far left is Veronica Comey. She's a sports journalist. She admonished me to address her as such before the show. No, I have a grandfather who says no cream, cream, crank, cream. And also, an even more veteran journalist, Rosalind Amo of the Graphic Communications Group, all seen a lot of Black Stars games, a lot of Black Stars coaches in their time. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure for having us.
Interesting indeed. 3-1, not unexpected, was it? Let me begin with you, Veronica. It was always going to be a win.
It was always going to be a win, except maybe would have expected a margin will be huge because of the kind of opposition we have, because we have a coach who is supposedly our savior and who is able to sit out there telling the whole world that he's monitoring our players when he still sticks with the stay safe in terms of his choices and those he invites. You know, you would expect that for all the work he claims to be putting into what he is doing, maybe it should have been more than the goals we scored today. But it's been typical Black Stars lately, isn't it? Every now and then they could leave you sitting on the tenterhooks for so long. Once in a while we get to win and we are feeling cool again. And so you lose the opportunity to even share your sentiments because you are being critical. So I expected a lot more, but 3-1, it was safe.
It was safe indeed, and that's the impression you got throughout the game, that they took their foot, the Black Stars took their foot off the pedal quite a few times.
Well, I think that perhaps, I mean, they didn't play against Mozambique in the same manner they would have played Cote d'Ivoire or Mali or Guinea, because perhaps they realized that no matter what, the Mozambicans would be no match, so there was no need to bend all the energy. And I think also that it only reflects the short time of training together. You know, since the last qualifier, they've not had the chance to come together to play. So you arrive on Tuesday, you train on Tuesday, Wednesday, you train on Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. A little bit shake off on Wednesday, then you play on Thursday. So definitely it was telling. I mean, it isn't the vintage Black Stars.
When was the last time they were vintage?
I don't remember. And you see, it's like now their mantra has become get the results, don't mind what we are identified by. Because some time ago, Black Stars would start playing and you could say that, look, this is how it was going to be. But you watch through 90 minutes and you are clueless. I mean, you could see 1 or 2 moves which may result in a good move, a goal, but you can't put anything to paper and say that this is how we played. Style. I mean, you can't define the Black Stars now. And for me, it's a bit worrying. Yes, they will get the results, but at the end of the day, sometimes you also let people know that, yes, this is a national team that has character. I haven't seen that in the Black Stars today.
Well, we'll be taking your thoughts on our various social media outlets. Let's know what you think of today's result. And as we go forward, who you think was the standout player. Most of you have identified Frank Achampong, who scored the first goal and indeed came in to start in place of the injured Andre Ayew. Andre has an ankle issue and he's been getting treatment in France. And let me ask Veronica and Rosalind, my panelists, what they identify as the best players from today?
I thought it was Frank, without a doubt, because he had the energy, he had the passion. You could make an excuse and say that he was trying to impress, to be able to stay in the team. But as a player who is by far our best performer in Europe, most of our players are bench warmers. Those who get opportunity to play, they are either coming on or they are hardly making a lot of impact. So by far, per the goals he scored and whatever he put out today, it was great. You could see that he had translated really well his club form to that of the national team. A lot of players don't do that really, really well. And he did it seamlessly today. And I thought I really liked his energy. It was a moment where I could say, am I missing Andre Ayew? If I missed Andre, then I miss his passion. The number of times he would clap to the team, rally them, and say that, you know, let's do it. When the cameras are all over the place, if I missed Ayew, it was what I missed. But in terms of his work rate, the fact that he would score, his understanding, despite the fact that in terms of cohesion, you don't expect him to have it because he hasn't been with a team that long. I thought he was my standout today.
No Ayew, no problem. I'm sure Andre would not like to hear that. However, Frank Achampong was quite impressive on the day. It was a pity that he couldn't play all 90 minutes. After 45, he sustained a knock, we understand, and so he had to go off for Jeffrey Schlupp to come on. Your standout player?
Well, I think that I would also give it to Frank. It comes as no surprise. You remember in Equatorial Guinea, the few times that he got to play for the Black Stars, you saw the passion, you saw the drive, you saw the professionalism with which he administered the role given to him. You don't get to see him often because he plays in a lesser-known league, as in Belgium. But for those of us who monitor, we know week in, week out, he's delivering for Anderlecht. And so it comes as no surprise. And today, if you asked who gave 90% of everything, I think before he was taking off, he was the one who was driving the team. You look at the speed with which he even dashed to get the
onto the Warriors ball.
Before he just calculated and coolly, calmly slot the ball in. Most people would have missed even with that golden opportunity, but he showed his stature and scored. So for me, I think that he was, if you ask me who was the horrible player today, I won't blink and say it was our goalkeeper.
But you say I would want to add on for Frank, because if you noticed, once he was off, Harrison was beginning to be exposed. Because he dropped in really well to support the defense, he still had the energy to come each time we're attacking, and it was really significant. Once he was not in the game in the second half, you could see that, yes, Harrison is experienced and all, but he was struggling in terms of defending, in terms of putting in the shift and all that. You could see a vacuum had been created, and it's the reason, I think, without a doubt, it was Frank.
All right, let me take a few comments. You're still on PM Express. You can send us your comments to Gary L. Smith on Twitter or at Joy News on TV. Those are various Twitter handles. Jamila Abdullahi says that my player of the day so far was Frank Achampong. This one says that the worst player that identified for the Black Stars is, Razak Brahma. This is from Jonathan K. Wayo. Anoko Ayoko says that the best player today was Jordan Ayew. I thought that his contribution to the game was understated but significant, and also his goal. This is from Kofi Ofer. He says that Jordan Ayew was as frustrating as he was good. He showed he has moments of brilliance, but sometimes he can drive us nuts. Agreed? Yes, Jordan.
Yes. I mean,
there are too many antics sometimes.
It is typical Jordan.
I think that he's taking too long a time to mature into the kind of striker that we've been told he is. I mean, no doubt he is brilliant. No doubt he is talented. He's got what it takes to be a dangerous striker. But I think that he's taking too long a time to settle into the Black Stars to be one of the potent and lead strikers when the captain is not around. And for me, it is irritating. Sometimes it is irritating. And, I mean, apart from everything else, the body language, does not indicate that he wants us to take him serious. I mean, not sluggish, but it's like he's too swollen-headed. I mean, over-pampered. And you can't be a professional
He needs competition.
Yes, you can't be a professional footballer. And for how many years? Almost 3-4 years in the Black Stars, and you still play as if you've just been promoted from the satellite.
Who is going to compete with Jordan Ayew, Abdul Majid Waris, and Asamoah Gyan?
There is Waris. Akam should be well soon. Ebenezer Asifua should be around. And if we have enough
But it's like Jordan doesn't feel the pressure.
I don't know why, because it appears that it was when Asamoah was always fit that we were playing only one top, that Jordan knew that perhaps he would have to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
But recently, you would almost think that we are often reliant on two strikers. And Asamoah has been injured many, many times, so he gets the opportunity to start anyway. And that could be the problem.
Yeah.
Without the competition, you are almost thinking that I am untouchable. Is he untouchable? It appears so, because Asifua won't even have the opportunity to prove himself, despite what he's done at the junior level.
And he's scoring for fun. But at his club.
Jordan just walked into the team somewhat. If you want to compare it to the Sifuas and others, and the fact that they didn't get many opportunities, I feel that perhaps it's about time maybe he's left on the bench a bit, because you see, attitude is as important as delivery.
Sure.
You can't behave lackadaisically and expect us to be excited with you. There was a moment we kept saying that people are a bit too critical of him, and he is young and he would only learn. But it's been almost 4 years. And if you do consistently in a team for over 4 years, I expect better. Not only the goals, but the attitude. At the last qualify, I think when Akwesi Appiah was in charge against Togo and I think Guinea, we were beginning to say he's maturing. He was beginning to pass the ball compared to his attitude at the World Cup.
Sure.
It was beginning to change. So suddenly what's happened to Jordan again? I feel he would need to be on his toes 100% throughout the game. It's what Andrew gave us. Andrew Ayew came, there were criticism, then he picked up.
Unfortunately, he has to be compared to his own brother.
Yeah.
They are two different players, with different styles. Yet they bear the same name. Unfortunately, they come from a great player. We've all seen how Pele played during his time, the passion, the agency, the drive. You see that in Andre, you don't see that in Jordan. And that is why I say that perhaps, I mean, I don't know, but definitely he needs to get competition. If he was even left out of the team completely, and somebody came and...
For a while, just
Yes, I mean, even for one match, and somebody came and the person delivered, then he would sit up and say, look, if I don't do that, I lose my place. And where he is now is not in France, where nobody really cares whether you play for your national team or not. In England, you need to play consistently for your national team to retain your place in your club. So I think that, I mean, people might have spoken to him and said, as for Ghanaians, they would criticize and they would talk. I mean, don't listen to anybody, play it as you want. But it gets to a point that sometimes it becomes very irritating, to the point that you wish you could just go and tell the coach to take him off.
You wish you could walk onto the pitch and make the change yourself.
And you see, he scored a goal, but it didn't make up for his poor performance. For me, he didn't drive the team, because you are leading the attack. What was there to show?
Sure.
What was there to show?
He's young, he has energy. You expect him to drop.
But you know, the thing is,
to drop in to get the
for
passes
Aston Villa,
going.
if you watch, he's everything that you want him to be.
Yes.
Is it because for Aston Villa he knows, look, my team is going down.
It's because
I need it to be a shop window.
It's because there is a certain gusted. And what happens is when he came, started, he was really slow. Then Gested would come and produce the goals.
And he was being
felt
benched.
threatened.
Yes.
So it looks like, as the language he understands, that there is competition. I have to rise to the occasion. Maybe some players need that. And I feel it's what Jordan needs now.
Okay, so we'll take more in terms of the discussion. We'll take it forward. We've looked at the game. We've looked at a couple of issues. And now we go to Abraham Grant and a few issues having to do with his selection, having to do with monitoring, and what we are doing going forward. However, first of all, let's get some post-match reaction, shall we? Jonathan Mensah spoke, Ajiman Bedu spoke as well. Christian Ayew also gave his view on what was really a stroll in the park for the Black Stars.
It wasn't, it wasn't easy. We just did our job and we got a 3 points. So we will just keep working hard because it wasn't that good because we conceded a goal. So we have to prevent. We have to give a clean sheet because we can do it. So we will improve in the second league.
In today's game, what would you say were your strongest points, and if there were any weaknesses, what are they?
We didn't play as fast as we can. We waited for them to regroup, and we just have to move the ball a bit faster. And when we did that in the second half, we got the third goal. That was a goal from Jordan. So we just have to keep playing as fast as we can.
Okay, so that's Jonathan Mensah. We will hear from Ajiman Bedu in a bit as well. But you heard Jonathan, seemed to be composed. Let's talk about him. He's recently had a club after a long time of having been on the bench for his French side. Do you think he acquitted himself well? More importantly, going forward.
Jonathan would always excel. He's composed, he's talented. There was a period I thought that he took his call-up for granted
yes.
too often because his attitude wasn't that of urgency all the time. But if you look at him from 2009 with the under-20 team, it appears that he's that kind of character. Is he always able to give you the results? Yes. You could hardly pinpoint a moment where a mistake resulted from Jonathan because he's alert. Despite his approach to the game, despite his character, despite who he is. Would I always have him in my team? I would, because every time you select him, regardless of the fact that he was off for so long because of his issues with cars, and he was laid off, then AVN went down, and even that he couldn't lock up a team, he still walks in here, and I still feel he's a shade ahead of some of the
He's in control.
Yes, he's always in control.
Especially off the pitch.
Yes.
Especially off the pitch.
I think he's one player that I admire most.
Yeah.
His human relation is very affable. Very respectful. No arrogance.
He speaks well too.
No egos. And for me, I think that, without a doubt, he's matured. Compared to Jonathan, who came into the Stars 4 or 5 years ago, he's matured. When he came,
he walked into Angola before Angola 2010.
He was overwhelmed by the presence of John Mensah.
Yeah.
And so he was a bit hesitant. But I think gradually he commanded his place and he's kept the place. If he's not injured, he's one player that you hardly put any mistake to. He now organizes the back to the point that he's always there organizing, making sure that everybody is towing the line. And for me, I think that he's a player that definitely, he also understands that if he doesn't play well, he probably will get off. So he doesn't take his position in the team for granted. And for me, it's business for him. And I think we need more of such players in the team.
Sure. We also need to do a commercial break. And then when we come back, I'll let the ladies have their ammunition ready, because I know from their body language before we came on air that they have some shots to fire, especially in the direction of the coach, Abraham Grant, and his agent. If you have some ammunition as well, keep them ready. We'd like to hear from you. This is PM Express. Whatever happens in the second leg in Maputo, the Black Stars would have each bagged $10,000. And that's the basis of this part of our discussion. There is always a lot of emotion attached to how much the team earns and whether it should be slashed or whether they are getting value for the money. And invariably, the arguments about whether their careers are too short, and so because the insurance systems don't work in Ghana, we should just leave them to earn these monies so that after their football careers, they can have a sound retirement. Veronica and Rosling are my guests in the studio on PM Express tonight. We've done the first bit of the show looking at the game itself. Now, other issues. We knew that before this game, the new sports minister, Neil Anti van der Poel, had assured us that we were going to have a new regime where cedis was going to be the payment or the denomination in which the payment was going to be done. But we are still seeing the big dollar sign there.
Yeah, the dollar sign would happen. I only hope that over time we are able to fix this, because $10,000, I mean, hey, it began with the Black Stars earning some 1,005. Even in 2004, 2005, before we went for that World Cup in Germany, that is where it all changed, because there was Goldfields living the dream and all that. We were excited about the World Cup, progressed to 5,000, then suddenly 10,000. Listen, Gary, I think their careers could be short. So is the athlete. So is the volleyball player. So is the tennis ball player. I'm thinking about sustainability. Are we able to sustain this 10,000 we pay the boys? They walk into town for 3 days and they go away with 10,000. Look around the world. Are you able to tell me any team that pays anything close to what we pay the Black Stars? I do not think so. I'm saying that we should talk dispassionately about these bonus issues, because we give them 10,000 and it's not even taxable, and it is dollars. And you are talking about ensuring that your CD is stable and strong. I'm saying that if they are as patriotic as they want us to believe, it is something that we must be able to come to a consensus that we are unable to pay this much. It appears to me that all the monies we make in terms of sponsorship and everything is invested in the Black Stars. And the Black Stars is the height of football. But you see, it starts from somewhere. Look at the league; it doesn't even have sponsors. Look at the other national teams. I couldn't even say that I could compare even the Queens, the Black Stars, though they are supposed to be on the same level. I am saying that as much as we may want our footballers to feel that we care and insurance, whatever people would want to bundle around, that $10,000, it's not sustainable. You wake up tomorrow and will qualify for the Nations Cup, and you would see that they would tell us that they no longer want 10,000 and they want more. If that understanding is not initiated today, at some point, sorry for you. And one thing I've been asking is that the Jamefe Committee, it had proposals. What has happened? I thought after 6 months of the issuance of the white paper, we should be implementing some of these things. Perhaps we may want to look into it, because we can't just say it's the passion of the nation. And I'm sorry, there are days these boys walk onto the pitch and it's as if they give you a result for 2,000 and you are paying 10,000 for it. Sure. And we also know that most of these players are reaching journalists every day, looking for opportunity for us to project them so that they could catch the eye of the coach or anything. So why do they walk into the team at crucial moments, and we want everyone to understand that they won't play if we don't give them what they want? I don't think they should hold us to ransom. We should find common grounds to let them understand that this is not sustainable. Because also, I think that is what it is.
Before I let you come in, let me just chip in that because of the way that bonuses are structured as well, Avram Grant earns twice whatever the players earn each. So he's going to get $20,000 for winning against Mozambique today. If they win on Sunday, the same applies. So if Avram Grant wins against Mozambique in Maputo on Sunday, which is pretty likely, he gets $20,000. This in addition to the $50,000 he earns every month. So he's going to walk away with $90,000 between the 24th of March and the 28th of March.
1 week.
That's 1 week.
I think that, I mean, clearly we have in the past played politics with the Black Stars. And so we have not been able to pull the bull by the horn and say it as it has to be said. I mean, we are not a country that is very rich. Even Nigeria, that is richer than us, do not pay such huge bonuses. They've slashed bonuses because of their own financial and other challenges that they face. South Africa doesn't pay that huge bonus. And so when you even compare to Europe,
to England.
I mean, England, I think that if you win, you get
1,500.
So at what point?
Which is just over $7,000.
I remember, Gary, when I came into sports journalism, I mean, I remember how much the Black Stars were taking. And then all of a sudden...
Remind us?
All of a sudden, no, I don't want to embarrass anybody, because even at that point, it was not paid upfront. You had to go and come back.
Wait, yeah.
You had to even pay your own
plane tickets,
which would be refunded in bits. I mean, we've come a long way. I think that at a point, it was important that we got players to come and play. The Black Stars, I mean, no matter how bad the Black Stars become, playing for your nation is the greatest honor any player could get.
Ask Neymar.
See, the jersey.
I mean,
ask Neymar.
The lifestyle, the girls.
To represent the country at the world stage, what else can compare?
Yeah.
So why should we make it? Of course, indeed, they deserve to be compensated.
Sure.
But I think that we've overblown it to the point that we can't afford it, and we are afraid to say that we cannot afford it. Why would we not sit down with them and tell them that, look, we know Ghana? I think that it is all about communication.
Sure.
Because of the kind of politics we've played with it in the past, now we dare not go to them and say that we want to cut your bonuses. If you did, give them tangible reasons. Give them tangible reasons, and I'm sure they are human beings. They have relatives here. They have people who also, but of course, it's also what we have made them become. Are they superstars?
Well, they are.
They are not.
They are superstars. They are stars. They are not superstars.
I mean, they are stars. They are professionals. But what defines a superstar? For me, by world standards or by the standards, I don't think they are superstars.
How many of our players will walk into any airports and they'll be recognized immediately? How many of them?
2 or 3.
I think
two or three, because maybe it's even their hairstyle.
I think that perhaps,
really?
I mean, without due respect, even Pele in his time, I mean, it's still recognizable. Yes, there are a few of them who would be because of where they play their competitions.
Or even their hairstyles.
But I think that, I mean, it's about time we sat down and said that, look, this is it. We are restructuring. And like Vero said, for how long are we going to keep the Jamafel Commission's report on the drawing board? Are we going to dust it off and open it and say that, look, this is what was written in it, this is what was recommended, and therefore we want to, even if you want to slash it to $5,000. I mean, like some of my black queens, I remember when we went to the World Cup in 1999 and they started earning some bonuses. You go to the shops and they want to buy things, yet you say the price and then somebody would come to you, Rose, blah, 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 blah. In the Ghana cedis, me how much?
How much?
She quickly does the multiplication and she says it's way
I
can't afford it. And so this is what we should be telling them. For every time that we pay a bonus, this is how much it costs the nation.
Yeah.
We have other national teams. This year the budget has been slashed. How much sponsorship money do we have? I mean, inflation has gone up. Sponsorship money has not changed. It's the same amount. So unless they are telling us the sponsorship amount is going to go up.
Sure.
And for me, who instituted that regime that if the players win and they get a bonus, the coach gets double the bonus.
Yeah, that was an incentive during the World Cup. I think it was from 2010.
I think it should only remain an incentive for
the World
particular
Cup
competitions. It shouldn't become the norm now.
Yeah.
So for a month,
Mozambique.
I mean, so
really?
For this month, if we go to win in Maputo, Avram is taking $90,000 for how many weeks? Not less than 1 week's job.
Yeah.
Oh,
and we are paying for.
I'm in the wrong profession.
You two are being jealous.
Yeah,
I'm not being jealous.
You're going to see.
I'm not being jealous, but
you're going to see some of those comments, and you know it's very interesting because a lot of Ghanaians actually feel that it's all merited.
But a lot of Ghanaians are very angry too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That
are we
not
being hypocritical?
Well, it depends on where you are, really.
Gary, let me say
Some
this.
people believe
Gary,
that you are only as good as your value and how much you put forward. Yeah.
I mean, those things can probably apply at the club level because at club level, you played week in, week out. People are expecting results.
2-3 times a week.
Yes, and then if you are not delivering, you are fired. I mean, a coach is hired to be fired at poor performance. But for a national team, unless you don't have the results, and I say that for the Black Stars, we may not have extra money, but we don't lack the talent.
Sure.
So anybody who comes to Ghana, unless the person has never been to any coaching program or training, anybody who comes to Black Stars is likely to succeed because now the boys themselves understand that their market value rises anytime they qualify for an international competition. So your job is almost done. All you need to do is to put a team together, come up with a strategy, tactics, and then get them, pray you don't have any serious injuries, and you get them going, unless maybe you meet serious teams like Germany, Brazil, and then...
Yeah, but once it's Africa, you're pretty much sorted.
So we shouldn't be, it shouldn't be the norm. It should be more of
the exception.
Yeah, sure. So Veronica and Rosalind are calling for the bonuses to be structured in such a way that they are divided for AFCON qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers, the AFCON itself, and then the World Cup, so that, you can see some progression and it's not all huge sums. However, some of you disagree. Ayew Williams on Twitter, you can send us your comment on Twitter at Joy News on TV, and to my personal one at Gary L. Smith as well. Don't you take salary from the work that you do? The talking is too much. Is it a hate or jealousy? That's from Ayew Williams. Joe Edu says, meanwhile, they take this money and there's doom. So who at all makes these financial decisions? Tricky says, we are simply overrating footballers. If players will not take 1,500, if the players will not take 1,500 pounds per game like the English, forget them. They also need the Black Stars. Manav says the country is sick. Ghana must think again. Kweku Abuaji says, are you for real? Is this how much they earn? Nanayao says, ridiculous. Given this current economic condition, I say it is madness. Emmanuel Achampon says, the Ghana flag has also lost weight. Nana BKOD says, Yao, what are you saying? That the players should be given less? Ampon Collins says, this is an absolute joke. So they all earn $350,000 collectively this month for just 90 minutes. Well, this is how a poor administration is run by our incompetent leaders. Kofi Abuaji says one word, wow. Indeed, wow. This one is one of the comments that I thought we should read. Pa Kuti says, if you have a problem, then go and play and charge less since you have the skills to play for the national team. So the opinion is pretty much split. Let's get your thoughts. You can see the WhatsApp numbers on the screen as well. We'll read them as we keep them coming. Now, after all the bonuses and everything, we have heard from some of the officials that, the new minister for sport has been rather conciliatory. His speech has been very matured, and unlike some of the previous regimes, it hasn't been a take it or leave it stance. It has been a more rapport filled. And we've heard George Afriyie, the GFA vice president, say that, they are going to sit down and they have no problem if there's going to be a slash of the budget. It's all about approach. So let's hope that the approach is going to be done well.
I think that's Gary. I said that it is about communication.
Yeah, communication.
When Dr. Mustafa Ahmed took over and this rumor went around that
take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it, it was going to be slashed. I thought that was the golden opportunity for us to sit down and draw with the GFA and the management of the Black Stars. Everybody knows. I mean, at that point when we were seriously confronting Dumso, I'm sure the players would have loved to say that this
was an opportunity.
But of course, like they say in HR and in labor issues, you don't leave somebody worse off than the person you came to meet the person. At best, you sit down to negotiate with the person and let the person understand the reasons why you are doing that. So if you don't, and you come and you rather want to make it look as if, they are no longer boys. What we forget is that maybe we may call them boys, but at this point, they are no longer boys. They are men. So you give them the respect, you give them, I am not saying that you just come and impose it on them, but I think that realistically, we can't sustain it. Gary, you talk of 6 national football teams. Don't talk about the other teams, the other sports and disciplines. You have maidens, you have queens, you have princesses. All of them are qualifying for world competitions this year. You have satellites, you have starlets, you have meteors, and you have the Black Stars. 7 put together.
Local Black Stars.
And then you have local Black Stars. Is it realistic?
For us to keep this going.
And apart from that, we haven't even talked about the per diems that are paid to them anytime they have to travel. The weekly allowances that are paid out, also in dollars. When did we make dollar because I realized, I think 3 or 4 years ago, Bank of Ghana said that we should, transact every business in cedis. And then also, we should encourage players to have local accounts here, so that those monies will be paid into that. What happened? We tried it with the maidens, and because we were not consistent and honest, and the trust and faith was not there. Even the girls kicked against it because you promised to pay monies into their bank accounts, and for several months the monies are not paid in. Even the under 17 girls would not allow that. So if there is no communication, there is no trust. You don't expect. Now we've told them when they get injured, they are left to their fate. So whilst they have life and they can kick, they would also want to make the most out of it. They've seen how some of our old players have been left paupers, in their old age. And so maybe they don't want to also end up in that way. But we have to sit down at this point and communicate and make sure that the right thing is done.
The last part of the show, apart from the bonuses, is something we would like to, that has been discussed before the qualifiers, but we need to get back to. If you look at the starting 11 today, there was no locally based player in there. However, Avram Grant famously always likes to tell us that, he's been going monitoring in Europe and so on and so forth. We saw a call-up late for Evans Mensah, who plays for Inter Allies in Ghana. He plays as a left winger, and he was called after David Akam, who is based in the US, reported an injury following Avram Grant's announcement of a 23-man squad. Now, he was one of a few players who are locally based, the other being Richard Ofori of WA All Stars and Samuel Tete of Wafa as well. Now, the key thing about all this is that the backdrop was the Ghanaian media, especially the sporting media, hit out of the GFA for allowing Avram Grant too much time to be, as it were, in Europe without watching the Ghana Premier League, which is 5 days old. So, after the game today, what does Avram Grant's agent say on Twitter? And I'm going to read what he says to you. He said that the Ghanaian media love to dish out BS, but when they get a little tickle, they cry like little boys. Take it as well as you dish out. That is his response to the Ghanaian media's constant complaints as well. Now he says again, let's see what the Ghanaian media complain about tomorrow. Oh yeah, Avram Grant needs to change the color of his shirt. And he hashtags with some unprintable words, and he says, support your team and stop the bull.
I apologize to Avram Grant for deciding to rescue him from Thailand. I apologize indeed.
The context, this is not a hardcore sports show. So the context of what Veronica is saying is that, if you recall, before we gave Avram Grant a job, he was coaching in the backwaters of Thailand.
I apologize that we raised him to the high heavens only because he went to the finals with Chelsea, forgetting that he took Portsmouth and West Ham down. I apologize.
He relegated both teams.
He relegated that in spite of that, he was made to feel like he was a savior. I apologize that we had a standing team already, and he walked into town, took us to the Nations Cup, silver medalist, and he thinks that we haven't been there. Though the last 6 or 7 editions, we've always qualified for the Nations Cup and reached the quarterfinal, the semi-finals. I apologize that we give him 50,000 euros. And he sits out there claiming to be monitoring, only to be sitting on TV as a pundit. I apologize that we allow all these, that he walks into town 3 days, win a game I could even win with the Black Stars against Mozambique or Comoros, and he takes away 90,000 plus 50,000 plus another 50,000 for work that he is not even doing. I apologize. I apologize, Gary, that we even take it that he tells us that he's monitoring players, and he comes here and it's the same squad I could name watching TV, going on the internet, and that he tells us that our local league doesn't even have quality, whether it was his agent or everything. Those days when his agent were speaking nicely for him, it was acceptable. Then he talks about our league and he tries to disassociate himself. What the team played today is not the Black Stars I know. We have quality to play above that. And ever since he came from the Nations Cup, where we struggled with about the first 3 games, I haven't even seen a footprint in that team. I am saying that he is not extraordinary. He is not our savior. He is nothing. He's an ordinary coach. And someone should tell Avram Grant, that he can't just take us for granted only because we are hospitable and we take everything. Indeed, the Black Stars has retrogressed. If he doesn't know me, I said it.
Okay, we'll take, I'm told we have to go for a break, but check this out as well. Now, his agent said the comments that I have just read to you just about 2 minutes before full time. So afterwards, one of our colleagues here at Multimedia, Benedict Dankwa, put it to him at the post-match press conference that, Avram Grant, this is what your agent said. You know what he told the journalist? He said, I can give you my agent's number so that you ask him yourself. We'll be back after this. Christian Ayew played his part today. Most parts of the game, he was even showboating, especially when the Black Stars realized that the game was done and dusted. If you just joined us, well, we are doing the post-match analysis of the Black Stars game today. They won by 3-1. The stadium attendance was poor. And a lot of people said it was because it was on a Thursday. Some also ascribed it to the pre-Easter rush where people will be traveling outside the capital. Also, some felt that the time it was played, 3:30, was too close to closing time. Whatever it was, the attendance was not good. But Ghana bagged the 3 points, and they are well on their way to qualifying for yet another Cup of Nations. The next one is in Gabon in 2017. It will be 35 years, by my count, that Ghana has not yet won a trophy in the African Cup of Nations, or indeed in any major tournament. And we are hoping that Avram Grant, who has told us before, actually, and this is a quote, he said some time ago that he has saved Ghana football, and that was after he took Ghana to the second place in the African Cup of Nations. So, while we are on the topic of our savior, Avram Grant, let's look at...
Not.
Well,
no, he's not. I mean, Gary, when did he become our savior? You see, what I don't like is when somebody is trying to tell the journalist how to do his or her work. You do your work, I do mine. What is my work? Yours is to deliver. Mine is to make sure that I criticize and keep you on your toes. When you do well, I applaud. I commend you. If you don't, I mean, it's in the interest of the nation that we do that. So when people try to make it look as if we are being loud-mouthed, we are just criticizing for nothing, it really gets on my nerves. And for me, what has Grant added to the team? What has he added to any of the players? I mean, roll back to Bukar Sees, may his soul rest in peace. What didn't he do for the Black Stars? He took a Black Stars when they were struggling for identity. He turned local players into national stars. Yeah. That is when the likes of Sam Johnson and co became utility players for the national team. That was when people were itching to also catch the eye of Bukar so they could come and play for the Black Stars. From that time onwards, I mean, all the coaches that have come in the last 10 years, what have they added to the Black Stars?
Milovan Rajvac made a difference. We could see.
Milo was.
Yes, that was what I'm saying. That what was the dramatic difference?
And we would
name them, compare them to what Grant is doing now. He came and these players were already there. Who has he discovered? For me to say that, look, this is the thumbprint or the imprint of Grant. I think that as a coach, it's not just sometimes winning trophies and winning matches. Yes, you could. I mean, in Africa, it's just like I always say that, I mean, apologies. When it comes to Africa, Black Stars could reign. When it comes to women's football, Black Queens would reign. But when you get to the world level, then you realize that the game is different. And that is what we see of the Black Stars. He should wait for us to qualify for the World Cup, get past the semi-finals to the finals. Then he can come and say that he saved Ghana football. What has he done? I mean, I personally don't like to attack people. But sometimes when they make you look as if you are stupid, they take your leniency and your hospitality for granted, it becomes very annoying. And we won't settle down. I mean, it is our Black Stars. If they don't know, it is our taxes. Now taxes have increased. Everything is gone up. It is those monies I mean, it is not the sponsors' money that is used to pay their salaries. It is the taxpayers' money. So when the taxpayer wants to enjoy small from Black Stars and you are not giving him that enjoyment, hasn't he got the right to also voice it out? And then you come and say that we like criticizing. I mean, the agent is lucky that he only lives in London, and so he can only tweet and Facebook and all that. If he's a man and he wants us to meet him, he should come to Ghana and come and tell us in our faces. I mean, we've had enough of them. We've had enough of them. They should do their job and stop talking. Sometimes I regret we took the job from Kwesi Appiah.
Yeah.
I regret.
I mean, sometimes you can't even forgive yourself.
Yeah.
I regret we took that job because
he would do
what
better.
What difference has he brought on since he took over from Kwesi Appiah? Maxwell was the standing coach, and then Grant was appointed. Since he took over, it's been 2 years, isn't it?
You know, they say hindsight is 20/20.
I always say that, look, for coming round and going round the local league centers, I see it as very cosmetic.
Oh, yeah.
Very cosmetic. If he wants to do the job, I'm challenging him. He should take up the local Black Stars.
And win things with them.
And win things with them. Because all his other colleagues in other countries are handling their local national teams as well. He should take up that responsibility. That's what the players abroad, we know them. Now it's not like several years ago where you really had to travel. Now at the press of a button, you can monitor, you can tweet, you can even ask other colleagues. He's a well-traveled man. He has links, he has contacts. Sure. He can always sit back and monitor and ask, Gary, did you watch today's game? How is he performing? Did you see the day? Did you see Jordan? You don't have to be. Can he be at all the league centers at one place? He can't. So he should be doing his work. If he wants us to see that he's making an impact and really saving Ghana football, he should come and handle the local Black Stars. Then we can all applaud and give him a standing ovation.
Not just the local Black Stars.
Until that is done, he should just tell his agent that he shouldn't take us for a ride.
Yeah.
Because when some of us start talking, we don't want to get into those kind of banters.
Yeah, those banters.
But it is very disrespectful, very, very disrespectful, not just for journalists, but for the country Ghana.
My people are on a roll.
They walked into town. Apparently, he was supposed to be the technical head, help structure a system for us, a philosophy for us, liaise with the local coaches, have workshops here and there to ensure that we have a philosophy, just like Germany. For how long is he even in town? He followed the under-20 to Senegal during the Nations Cup for the under-20, watched 2-3 matches. He was away because there was a friendly somewhere. He is still parading the same old safe squad, even when we are playing a team like Comoros and they are almost beating us. And he wants to tell us that he is actually a savior. He's not even mastered a tactics for the Black Stars. Today, you can't even tell whether it's still the 4-4-2 or we are trying to do 3-5-1, whatever they want to call it. You can't even say so. Who can't just name the squad he is naming? I know that there will be Jonathan Mensah and John Boy doing great. The only thing he has changed is to put Wakasu and Efriye Akwa together because he feels that maybe Ajman Bedu and Rabiu are not really gelling well. Who can't do that? I'm saying that if Kwesi Appiah was in charge, he would have progressed more than Avram Grant, has done since he took over. There are no excuses. If he wants to make excuses and say that it's because we talk too much, he should shut us up by walking the talk.
And winning a trophy.
How many local players does he even know? How many of them? He walks into those league centers only because we've been critical. And I tell you, but for the fact that there was a game getting close and the Black Stars were walking in town, he wouldn't have been here. And I know that for sure. It's all our fault. We have tolerated him a little too long.
So we are wrapping up on the show now. Plenty comments coming in. Just to finish up. Jerome says the ones to blame are those paying them and not anybody else. Paakoti comes again and says, you keep advocating for somebody to be paid less. I wonder whether you go to work and ask your bosses to pay you less. Bakufo Adam says, Gary, are you being troubled by Grant's agent? Don't forget that he's called Ruby, a little girl who can't talk well. Very interesting. But we've had a very interesting discussion, matters arising out of the Black Stars game. Check out myjoyonline.com/sport and also our Twitter and our Facebook feeds for more build-up as we head into the second leg in the AFCON 2017 qualifying series. It's quite sure that the Black Stars will qualify again. My name is Gary Alsman. Many thanks to Veronica Comey for joining us, sports journalist. Thank you. Also to Rosalind Amo for joining us. Pleasure. And to you for all your comments via Twitter especially. We are grateful. Malika Basdabu returns with more later. Bye-bye.